The time is 4:01. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Hanson Board of Health. Roll call, Arlene Diaz.
Yes.
Kevin Perkins.
Here.
And I'm present, all members present. First order of business will be to approve the minutes of the meeting of September 22nd. If everyone's had a chance to read them.
I have. This is Kevin. I've read them. They look good to me.
I'll entertain a motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, you can entertain the motion, and then I just want to have one correction. We can do that during a discussion. So I'll motion that we accept the minutes of the September meeting.
And
I'll second that motion. This is Kevin.
And we'll do a roll call. Arlene?
Well, before we vote, I made a motion on a, I should have brought the minutes back up again, to go to, oh God. There's one thing I wanted to correct about the complaint we got. In the minutes, it said that I wanted it to go to review. The part of my motion was I wanted it reviewed by the attorney, and that was not my recommendation.
Review from the board. They would like
part of my
It says Ms. Diaz made a motion that after review from the board, they would like the office to respond to the open meeting complaint after review from town council.
Okay, but
saying that you made a motion not to review it, that you specifically yourself did it, that the board, after the board reviewed it. I think that's the way it's saying it.
I understand it, but it sounded like to me it was two parts. I made a motion to move forward with the after review, that we move forward with the request. The second part of that looked like it was part of the motion, was that it went to review by town council.
So there's a comma in there, after review from town council.
Okay. All right. Then I'm fine with that.
Yeah. When you look at it, because I'm looking at it, it has a comma and then after review from town council. So you made the motion that you wanted us to respond to the open meeting law complaint. That's your motion. Yeah. And that was, so after review from town council.
Okay.
Punctuation.
I just didn't want it to be that part. All right, so continue with your roll call. That was a yes.
Okay. And Kevin?
I'm a yes also.
And I'm a yes to accept the minutes of the meeting for September 22nd also.
Can I ask a question, Dennis? Did we get a response on that?
I haven't heard.
I haven't heard anything.
I mean,
it's not required that anybody respond. It was sent back to Mr. Edghill, and it was also forwarded to the state.
Town council was my question.
Oh, say that again?
Did we get a response from town council? Did they review it, and did we get a response?
Well, we went over it with them in John's office. She was on the phone. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All set?
Okay, sorry. Yep.
Okay. Second order of business is the installer's requirements. I think we wanted to discuss that.
Yes, you guys had requested.
Yeah, we had talked about that before, with what we really need to do. I'm not sure as to what our options are or how you guys feel about it, but I just think that having 3 licenses is just kind of a strict requirement and kind of unnecessary.
What would you recommend, Kevin? 1 active license? You know.
I've thought about it, and it's kind of hard to figure out a really, really fair way to do it. I think that if we made it so you had 1 in another town, it would qualify you to, I think regardless, you still have to take the test and pass.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't know if there's any stipulation on how often you could schedule to take that test. Is there, Teresa?
No.
So just so people can't just take the test, take it until they finally pass. Maybe they can do it, they'd have to wait 3 months or something along those lines before they could retest.
Twice a year you can take it, or?
Yeah, maybe, if they fail, they have to wait 6 months or 3 months, or, put something like that in there. But I think if they have one license, I think I'd be okay with that to allow them to take the test. And if someone has no licenses, I think maybe they should still come into the board, and at the board's discretion, they could allow them to sit for the exam. How do you guys feel about that?
I have a question. I don't like the idea of no licenses previous, because then you don't know. With at least 1 or 2 licenses, you can check with other towns if they've had problems. But if there's no license,
Arlene, I could go to 2 other towns, right? I've never installed a septic system by myself. I've assisted with them plenty of times. I could go to 2 other towns or 3 other towns, pay for it, get a license, never install a system in those towns, come to Hanson and sit for the exam. So all you're doing is,
towns don't require it?
You're telling, I could absolutely find 3 towns in the state of Massachusetts that would give me an install license. Absolutely 100%. All you're doing is you're just putting little hurdles that people have to jump over and throw money at. It doesn't make you qualified at all. That's the problem, is you're actually making it difficult for the qualified guys to get licenses, because typically the qualified guys, they do a lot of work in the same towns. And every once in a while, they'll get a job in another town, and say they get a job in a town like Hanson that they might have only work in Pembroke. All the time they work in Pembroke, all they have is an install license in Pembroke. They get a job in Hanson. How are they supposed to get a license? They have one town. That's the problem. And I think we're actually shorthanding some of the qualified installers. I think that's really what's going on. And I think that if someone, like we talked about before, based on their qualifications and where they've worked, who they've worked with, that I think at the board's discretion, they could come in for an interview or a conference of some sort. If someone had no licenses, they were just starting up their business and they were going for a license, but they're more than qualified, I think at our discretion, we could allow them to sit for the test. Granted, they still have to pass the test. That's aside from the fact. Everyone has to pass the test. But I just think to just be a flat out no and make people go to another town and just throw money at something just to come back to us is not right.
And Teresa, this has not been a problem in the past, right?
Not until COVID, and then people didn't want to have to wait. But I mean, people are taking tests now.
We didn't have a problem with the requirement that people have the ability to have a permit in other towns, in 3 other towns.
No, you know what? It really kind of depends on what time of year it is. So generally, I think in most towns, this runs calendar year. So you're permitted in January and it expires, December 31st. So if people are installing in January, February, March, it could be a problem because this is their first job of the year or whatever the case may be. And there are circumstances where some people don't have the 3 licenses. You can just certain towns and get licenses. I don't know what those towns are, but other people have told me that.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah.
What the problem is this is not a state license. This is a town-to-town license. I mean, we're calling it a license, but in my opinion, it's a fee. That's all it is. It's a glorified fee. If you're qualified to install a septic system in the state of Massachusetts, unless like certain towns like Pembroke, they adopt they have 150 gallon per day design flow instead of 110. It's 130 or 150. It's a little over, but that's all engineering requirement, engineering criteria anyway. We just installed the plant. Right. But what's going on is these towns are all charging for an individual license for each town. So it's, in my opinion, it's a fee that if you're qualified to install one in Hanson, you're qualified to install one in East Bridgewater. That it's regulated by the town individually, but that doesn't make someone more qualified or less qualified by them having either no licenses and they know how to do it, or someone having 12 licenses. It doesn't make anyone more qualified. And that's my point of it, that you're not getting any more qualified people by making them have 3 licenses.
Okay. I don't like the idea of going down to 0 though.
I'm not saying that someone with 0 can walk in and take the exam. I'm saying that someone that a certain situation where, say, they've worked for a company for 20 years and they've been running this company and they decide to go out on their own. You wouldn't allow that person to come in and at least discuss with you to allow them to sit for the exam?
And that would have to be a case by case.
That's what I'm saying, Eileen. A case by case. If they have no licenses, in a case by case basis, they could come in and discuss with us. And at our discretion, case by case, we could allow them to sit for it with no licenses. I'm not saying no licenses gets a green light, they get to sit. They'd have to come in front of us, put some sort of a resume together, references, and explain to us that they're qualified and why in their situation they don't have a license.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so do they have to have any licenses? I just want to make
That's
sure
what I was gonna ask. Would we be interested in requiring a certain amount of licenses just to be okayed without appearing in front of the board?
I think we could reduce that. I feel like we could reduce that to 1, and that would qualify them to just sit for the test.
Okay.
And they still have to take the test. They still have to pass, and they can only retest. If they fail, they can't retest for 6 months.
Right.
Do you think that's fair?
I think that's fair.
I mean, any other license that I have, the requirements are a lot more strict. You know, you can't retest for a year, or you have to pass, and
Okay. So it'll be everyone should have at least 1 current license and required to take the test. If they don't have a license, they'll be required to come before the board with references and a resume. And so should anybody fail it, no retest for 6 months. Is that it in a nutshell?
Right.
I think that's pretty fair, and that's only regarding new licenses. That's not regarding renewals, people that already have them.
Yeah, because for renewals, it's just you just do all the paperwork online and then you're in, unless you haven't been permitted in, I think it's 5 years, 4 years, 5 years.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that this should affect anyone retroactively, anyone going back that's had a license and maybe all they have is Hanson. That's not what I'm looking to do. I'm just gearing it more towards people coming in looking to get a new installer license. They've never had one, or they've let it expire, like you said, for 5 years, 6 years, whatever the time.
Right. Okay.
Does that sound pretty fair?
It's a bylaw, right?
No, it's just a Board of Health rule. It's on the paper that I sent you. It's the old paper application, which we don't even use anymore. And it has everything written down the bottom.
Oh, the permit application.
Yeah. And down the bottom, if
right.
you haven't been permitted in 5 years, you have to do
Yeah, but it's not a regulation and it's not a bylaw. That was my question.
No.
So basically, if they haven't been permitted in 5 years, we're going to treat it like a new license, and it wouldn't be a renewal.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I need motions, please.
Well, when we're finished discussing.
Oh.
I just wanted to be clear. I wanted to be clear that it wasn't bylaw, it wasn't regulation. It was part of the process for it to be permitted in Hanson. So we don't have to change anything other than that. So I'll make a motion that we accept the changes to the permit process for septic installer.
I'll second that motion. This is Kevin.
And I'll do a roll call. Arlene?
Yes?
Kevin?
Yes.
And I'm a yes on that also.
Now, for our next meeting, do you think that should be one of the documents so we can just review the changes so we can actually vote on that, or do you think this covers that?
It should cover it.
That should cover everything.
Okay.
Next order of business is discussion on Halloween. protocol.
That was me. We don't have anything official in terms of Halloween. I think that what we should just do, and I don't know if you've already done it, Teresa, is put the CDC guidelines on the Hanson Board of Health Facebook page or on the
No, I have not.
because that covers everything, and that's what people should be doing. There's a lot of people, going back and forth on Facebook about whether we're doing it, we're not doing it. People are setting up their own things with social distancing, but I think if they just follow the CDC guidelines, that should answer all of their questions. And if we can just make that available on the town website and on the Facebook for Hanson Board of Health, I think that should suffice and provide any answers they need.
Anything else on that?
No, that was it.
It's actually already on the main Board of Health website.
Okay.
Main,
For the town?
The main town website. It looks like somebody typed it up, though. I'll just add it on. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, put a couple pumpkins on it and stuff.
Yeah, right. Okay. See it up.
All right. Next, we're going to septic plans. We're looking at 376 Phillips.
Yes, and Steve Rye, the engineer, should be on the call as well. Steve, you there? He said he was going to call in.
We have two people there, so maybe he just stepped away for a second.
No, one of them's Terry McSweeney.
Okay, Terry.
Which one was Terry? Phillips?
125 Glenwood.
Glenwood.
125 Glenwood.
Okay. Why don't we go ahead with Terrence then?
Thank you.
Did everyone get a chance to look at the plans for 125 Glenwood?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah. No, I guess on the variances, one of them, I can barely read his handwriting. I think it said invert 0 proposed to groundwater.
Yeah, so that has to do with the tank inverts above groundwater. By code, the invert of the tank is supposed to be 12 inches above groundwater, but that's not possible at this site because of the existing invert at the house and our inability to change the invert. So in order to get the required pipe slopes from the house out to the tank, we have to bury the tank deeper, and when you do that, you don't get the required 12-inch vertical separation. So that's a variance. It's part of the local upgrade process.
Okay. It's just that I couldn't read the engineer's handwriting.
Yeah,
all right.
That would be me, and thank you very much.
No, our review engineer. It's our review engineer.
Oh, Jim? Yeah, okay. Well, then it's Jim's fault. It's Jim's fault.
That was my only question.
So I'm on my mobile and I'm in a real bad area. I might lose you.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if anybody else has questions.
I'm all set with it. Kevin, any issues you want addressed?
I was just trying to zoom in.
It does need a deed restriction notation, Terry.
Say that again?
It does need a deed restriction notation.
Okay, I'll make that change to the plan.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with it. It's so are you gonna put boots on that tank, or are you gonna seal them, or?
Yeah, under the code, you have to close either boots or hydraulic cement. And I believe I made that note on the plan. If I didn't, I certainly will. But I usually try to make that notation whenever we reduce the inverse separation.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be nice if they could put boots on it, but hydraulic cement's fine too, I guess. What do they just put a little tire on it after it hardens up?
The hydraulic cement?
Yeah, put some foundation tire or something on it after to seal it. Or...
If that's what you want us to do, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
I'll
looks
make
good
that
to me.
note as well.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the plan for 125 Glenwood Place. And it needs a deed restriction notation.
Do I hear a second?
Can you just amend that to say with the variances, as written on the plan? And then I'll second that.
Amended to say with the variances on the plan.
Yep.
Well,
there-
they're on the plan. That's what we're gonna approve.
Okay.
Okay,
That
so
was-
I'll make a motion to approve 125, the plan for 125 Glenwood Place with the variances shown on plan. And note to be added for boots to be added to tanks or sealed with hydraulic cement and some type of liquid membrane on top of the hydraulic cement, and a note to be added for deed restriction.
I'll second that.
And a roll call. Arlene,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also. Thank you, Terrence.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Back to 11 Beckett. Is he here?
Yes, sir, I am.
Steve, is it?
No,
No, it's Miles.
That's a different plan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Did everyone have a chance to review the plans for 11 Beckett?
Yeah.
Any issues?
Let me look.
So it would be more preferred as far as on the checklist.
Sorry, I was deleting the other plan. I don't think I had any issues with this.
Put it in screenings with much higher treatment level, and then I would probably put that leach over on the side where the tight tanks are.
Back.
So is it just the reduction to 4 feet of separation?
Yeah, that's correct. You know, and we only did one hole just because of the limited
People.
area on the property.
Okay. It's a full-size leaching area.
That's correct.
Well, yeah, because not about.
Yeah, we were just asking for that reduction to allow it to not have to be a pump system, that's all.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, we were able to make it work. You know, it was a tight piece of property, but we were able to kind of
So
squeeze it.
you're less than 2 on the perk.
That's correct.
Okay. I don't see any issues.
If
All right,
there's,
I'll make a motion. I'll
okay,
make a motion. We accept the plan at 11 Beckett Street with the variances noted on the plan.
do I hear a second?
I'll second that. It's Kevin.
And a roll call. Arlene?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also.
Thank you.
Thank-
I need a deed restriction notation on that plan as well.
So where would you like that to be?
You could put it right below the variances, the list of variances.
Just
the
state
plan?
the restrictions required.
Yes, please.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
And, where are we? Is, the person for 376 Phillips here?
Yeah, that's Steve Rye. Yep.
I,
Can you hear me all right?
yes. Did everyone have a
Yeah,
chance to go over the plan for 376 Phillips?
Yep. Yeah.
Any issues?
No.
There's no
So-
issue.
No, I'm just looking at it now. So it was a sieve analysis and a reduction to 3 foot separation.
Yes, that's correct.
And Teresa,
Yes?
no deed restriction needed on this, right?
Well, he already has it noted on the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's note number 18 under general notes.
Okay. There's no discussion. I'll entertain a motion to accept the plan.
Was Kevin done looking at reviewing it? Because he said he was reviewing it. That's the only reason I was waiting.
No, I don't see any problem with it. I mean, they're already using the lowest profile chamber they can do, so no, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that we accept the plans for 376 Phillips Street with variances as noted on the plan.
I'll second that. This is Kevin.
And we'll do a roll call. Arlene?
Yes?
Kevin?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thank you very much. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Yep.
Next order of business, old unfinished business.
Oh, I had one thing I wanted to ask. Teresa, is it possible on our town website and our Facebook page to list a couple of local places that do free testing?
Yes, actually, I was going to do that today. A meeting I was at today, we were talking about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
a lot of people have been asking online, and so I've been trying to give them the free ones as opposed to the tons of local ones where you can pay or use your insurance. But I know there are 3 at least in Brockton, and I know
Massasoit is the closest one.
Massasoit and Brockton Neighborhood Health has 2 sites in Brockton. I have the addresses somewhere.
Yeah, I just
Massasoit
know
is limited.
closer.
Massasoit's only 9 to 1, and so the other 2 places are up until 7 p.m.
Mhm.
I'll send you the information
Okay.
on the other 2. I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure that that's part of what we have on the website. That was my only thing.
Okay.
We have no other septic plans, do we?
No. Nope.
Okay, that being said, we'll go to the agent's report. Gil?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Just a quick rundown of everything that's been going on. As you know, our office is very busy with, Teresa taking on the Maven reporting and everything and controlling all that. Where the VNA doesn't do anymore, Teresa has a handle on that. She's doing excellent. It's working out quite well. On my end, complaints coming down. I respond to all the complaints. State is now taking complaints and passing them down to us. So we got a few of them coming in here and there, and on top of the ones that come in by phone, reviewing a lot of the business, how they're working out, and checking on businesses. We're working on phone calls. We're averaging like 3 to 4 phone calls per week from the state and the Department of Public Health, so fairly busy there. We've also been reviewing the fireworks site. We get information coming in there. The town never really participated in the fireworks site and what was going on there, so myself, conservation, and the town administrator, we're on the monthly phone calls for that and starting to build a library of things that are happening there, so that's becoming quite a big thing. What chance should have got involved a long time ago. Sites, septic systems, they're happening all over the place. The real estate market is really exploding, so we got a lot of things going there as far as septic systems. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 a week, then we end up, 4 or 5 a week, so quite busy there. So, there's quite a big things going on here. We're constantly busy. The office is very busy, along with people calling in. Teresa handles all the permits and scanning plans and answering most of the, that type of stuff. A lot of Title V reports come in. We go through June, and she's got to put a lot of things into the computer. So, things are very busy, and I think we're handling it pretty good. I mean, it's a very busy office, probably one of the busiest offices in town, but I think we're doing all right. We haven't received any complaints about us or anything, so we're handling things in a, decent, the speediest manner too, so I think things are going pretty good. If anybody has any questions, that's a summarization of everything we do in the office here, so.
I have one question. Did we get any requests from Fox News for information?
Yes, I already responded to it.
All right. You were on the call today, Teresa?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for Gil? I know Teresa's been putting some extra hours in every week, and we really appreciate that. I know it's pretty crazy up there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any more questions.
If that's it, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion. This is Kevin.
Roll call. Arlene?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
All right.
Yeah, good night.
4:32, thank you.